This is Robert Thomas. As Joanne said, I am the Colonial Chapter's Vice President Liaison, which means I'm just basically the intermediary, excuse me, which means I'm the intermediary between the chapter and the national organization. So Joanne invited me to come on and talk to you and give you a brief history of PVA. So I thought it would be a good idea to invite the Senior Vice President, Charles Brown, saying that this year, going into our 75th year, we have elections coming up, and the Senior Vice President is running for the position of President this year. So I thought it would be a good idea for him to brief you all on the history of PVA and also uh, let you all hear from the potential next president of PVA. So, Senior Vice President Brown, if you would, sir.
Thank you, Robert. It's an honor to be here. Sorry that I'm not on camera, but other things have precluded that this morning. Just a brief history on PVA. With the advent and the implementation of antibiotics during World War II, soldiers were returning home and able to live longer with their spinal cord injuries. When they got home, the VA had no idea what to do with them. They started warehousing them in different areas across the country. Veterans that fought to serve this nation and secure the security of the world decided that wasn't good enough, that they needed more. They started banding together, talking, and they formed groups: California, New York, and Chicago. And through the time they got together, they decided to get together in one large group, and they met, and they formed the Paralyzed Veterans of America. Since day one, they've been the advocates for the health care of veterans with spinal cord injury and disease. 1946 was the year of formation, and since then we've been advocating for not just that, but we've also started being the broad advocates for the benefits of veterans that are suffering with spinal cord injury and disease. Now, PVA over the years has developed different programs and different items to help improve the quality of life for veterans. And as Robert and I talked, there used to be what we called 8 mandated programs, but now we've whittled those down to 5 that we want the chapters to focus on. Those 5 programs would be: 1, which is the advocacy, reaching out to the community and making sure that accessibility and proper cares is given for our members out there. We advocate, again, for the healthcare, and that's done through our liaison program with inside the hospitals. And that includes part of the VAVS. We also advocate for sports. A healthy body means a healthy veteran, which means you have a higher quality of life. Shoot, lost my marker on my page. Robert. Hold on one second, guys. Hey, Robert, can you fill in for a second?
Sure. So, as you know, Charlie was saying, going with the advocacy, as many of you all, or some of you know, that every March there's the advocacy and legislation program where all 32 chapters combine and go on the Hill and attack the Hill for issues of concern to paralyzed veterans, people with SCI and disease. We also have the Sports and Sports program that there's many different national sports programs. There's fishing. There's the National Veteran Wheelchair Games, as Crystal so mentioned a little bit earlier. There's also air guns. We have an air gun circuit. We have a bowling circuit. So there's many different things that happens in sports as well. Then, did somebody say something? I had a question, or so then there's. We wanted to basically have you all ask the questions, and then we can answer them, because we want to ensure that you all have something. I mean, PVA has, again, a big history, and Charlie mentioned there were actually 8 mandated programs, but this year at the fall board meeting, they were cut down to 5 because we moved 2, which were that we felt were more of service than an actual program. Administration of the chapter offices, as well as the NSO services, or the Veterans Benefit Department, as we like to call it, the services that the NSOs provide. That was, instead of being considered a program, we thought it was more of a service again. So, in addition, we also have medical services, which falls under the Veterans Benefit Department. In medical services, the medical services team goes out to the different SCI centers and ensure that the patients within the SCI centers and outpatients as well are getting quality health care, and that the nurses that help perform this health care have the proper equipment needed to adequately service our members. You all have a board member and vice president that used to be part of that service team, as I understand. Miss Anna there was part of that. She was a PVA employee at some point in her life. So, any questions on the medical service department and VBD pertaining to the site visits, as we call them? Ann can fill in some of that, but we also can get you in contact with medical services team lead that can answer any further questions. I'm not sure what all Charlie wanted to speak on. We were going at this different. My focus is going to be more of telling you my job as the vice president of the VA, but just going and filling some of those slots that we. Now, is there any questions on what we've covered here so far that you may have?
Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Yeah, and I'll jump in and just talk a little bit more about where I'm coming from and why this is so special to me. But my injury took place almost 38 years ago now. As a young man, while I was in the Army Reserve, civilian accident, and have spent really the last, I would say, 35 years working on my career. It's something that I was very adamant about. Originally went into the military because of family tradition, but also because I wanted to be the first in my family to go to college. So that was the route. That was the way I could get the funding. Parents didn't have money to put me through school, nor my other siblings. So that was the route I was going to go. And of course, life had its own curves. Got in a civilian accident on a work job, tackled a forklift, broke my back, paraplegic from the waist down. So that was been my challenge. That kind of changed everything. Had to redirect what I was doing. Went back to school in the computer field, which was something I had some interest in. And as I said, spent the last 35 years building my career to the point where today, you probably see if I'm pointing over the right shoulder, I work for Shepherd Pratt, which is the oldest, largest behavioral health organization, mental health, substance abuse organization in the country. And I'm their chief information officer. So I'm at the top of my game. It's certainly a good, I'll say not the 35 years. I've actually been doing that role for about 20 years now. But my passion and involvement with PVA is, I've always been in the volunteer world, but it's been in volunteering with kids and things of that nature. And I finally got to a point where I'm confident in my career. I'm comfortable there. I'm comfortable where I am in my personal life. And I wanted to be able to give back to people that are in my same situation, veterans that need a boost up or want to boost up. And I think I have some particular skills to offer to do that. So that's getting involved with the PVA a couple of years ago, as Robert pointed out, we had some issues with the chapter and the previous leadership. We had to overcome those. We were in jeopardy of just becoming not a chapter anymore, frankly. And we've overcome that over the last 2 years, and that's not by anything of my doing. It's all of our doing within the Colonial chapter. Everybody's worked hard to get to where we are today, which is what I consider to be more of a model for what I would hope other chapters are doing, and we continue to build upon the program that we're put out there. But this HEART program is something that's very passionate to me because I have been so career oriented throughout my life. I was an athlete in my younger days, and I certainly enjoy the recreation and sports piece of PVA, but helping people get back to work, knowing that there's a lot of opportunity out there for people with disabilities, especially now that a lot of work is virtual. It's really opened a lot of doors that have been there, just but not in the numbers that they are today. So yes, my passion has been to help anybody that wants to get back to work, make themselves better. Sure, some folks can make it off of VA benefits and salary that way, but if you're anything like myself, you're driven, you want to do better. I want to improve my life and the life of my family. So that's what I want to give back. I want to help other people in my same shoes get to where I am, and how did I get there? Help them through that same process. Another piece of what I did miss is, originally I wanted to go to college. I didn't do that because I've built my career for the last 37 years. 2016, I finally did go back to college. I finished my bachelor's and my MBA within 3 years. So I was able to go back and do that goal while working on my career as well. So again, this is something I'm very passionate about, if you can't tell. And I'm really looking forward to helping anybody, using the resources we have at the Colonial chapter to help anybody achieve any goal that they want to achieve.
All right.
Okay. Lauren's back on. Lauren, do you want to talk a little bit about the connection between the HEART and the PAVE program?
Absolutely, and my apologies. I'm just having some computer bandwidth issues this morning, so I needed to leave our Citrix system and log back in this other way. So, Thomas, I know we had the chance to speak a little bit yesterday, so I appreciate that opportunity. As you know, I work for Paralyzed Veterans of America in support of the Veteran Employment Program. I'll just start with saying that in about 2 weeks here, we will be changing our name from PAVE to PVA's Veteran Career Program. So there will probably be just a little bit of confusion for a little while, but we have a pretty good plan in place to execute that name change. But I don't want you to be confused if all of a sudden you stop hearing PAVE and start hearing VCP. So what we are is we're a team of vocational rehabilitation counselors and employment analysts, and we work one-on-one with members of the veteran community, primarily PVA members and other veterans who have significant disabilities, to help them find meaningful employment, volunteer, or educational training opportunities. And we really consider all of these to be equal in weight. What we're looking for is to find new ways to keep people involved, have these veterans have a level of purpose, a sense of community, so that they can continue to thrive in their lives, and again, contribute. So you'll be working primarily with Tiffany, who is here. And what we're really doing is, this is the chapters program, which we are very proud and excited to support, with, working collaboratively with both Joanne and Brian and Matt and the rest of the leadership. But then also working one-on-one with you, Thomas and Daryl, to help you figure out, not just as you go through the HEART Fellowship, but what are your current goals after that? So what do you want to continue to do? How do you want to continue to engage? Do you want to pursue part-time employment? Are you more interested in full-time employment? A volunteer leadership role, being more involved with PVA? How can we help you, develop the skills and find something that you're going to be interested in and passionate about? So we'll be definitely all working together. We do, and this isn't because we don't want to take responsibility, but again, we see this very much as a strong chapter program that we hope will be replicated amongst the other 32 chapters. But we're here to really support it and provide guidance as requested and needed. So we want the chapter to see us as a resource, and that's what we are here for you too, Thomas. So I could run you through a PowerPoint. The other thing I just want to touch on briefly, because I think it'll be something that will encourage you to take part in, Thomas, is about a year ago, we launched a series of virtual career and networking engagement opportunities. We call it PAVE Connect now. Again, it will be VCP Connect here in a couple of weeks. But the idea behind this was that too many veterans with disabilities in particular were being left behind by traditional employment programs that either weren't acceptable or veterans weren't comfortable going to them. They're very high stress, they're crowded, they're loud. You wait, 30 minutes to give a 30-second elevator pitch to a recruiter who's not even the hiring manager. And we found, that studies have shown that veterans with disabilities are concerned about discrimination in the hiring process. So we wanted to even that playing field by going a little bit more virtual and making things more accessible, but also highly engaging. We want these to be interactive. So we launched PAVE Connect, and we cover a variety of topics. Some of them are topics led by the PAVE staff on everything from federal resumes to civilian resumes to the GI Bill, how to choose a major if you're going back to school, how to handle job rejection. So kind of off the beaten path topics that you typically don't hear about. But we also offer networking sessions with employers that don't just talk about, the positions that they have available, but go deeper into their diversity and inclusion, their accessibility, their culture, where, we consider the attendees, the job seekers, we want to offer them the opportunity to kind of grill those employers rather than just have employers grill the veterans or the job seekers. So we try to flip it a little bit, but also really explain what industry does. Because again, we also found that too many people assess an employer based on how they advertise to us as consumers, not as how they, the jobs that they have, and again, their culture. So we hope that you'll participate in some of these. We'll add you to the distribution list for when we have these sessions. We usually have 2 to 3 a week. You don't have to join them all. You and Tiffany can work together to figure out which sessions are the best sessions for you to attend in terms of networking and things like that. I know you're very interested in school and education and training. We're doing a whole special series on higher education. I think in late February through the end of March, that will again cover everything from GI Bill to how to write a personal statement, to community colleges, to Sailor Academy, which offers free online training courses. So we'll definitely invite you and encourage you to be part of those. And what we really want to hear from you though is your feedback as you go through this program. We want to make sure that as one of our inaugural fellows, that there are things that we can do as a program to better support the chapter and better support you, that you let us know about that. So with that, I don't know, Tiffany and Dom or Joanne, this is your meeting. I don't want to take over the agenda. So let me know if you have questions, Thomas, or.
Oh, no, not at this time.
Okay.
Actually, this is Matt meeting.
Hello. I think we lost her.
You think you lost Ann?
Oh, did you say Miss Adair?
Yeah, I said Ann Adair. Do you have anything to add?
It didn't come out clearly. That's why I was sitting here. No, you haven't lost me. The main thing I talk about is the relationship with our service officers. It is very key. If you have prosthetic needs, for example, you can work with our service officers. And some of the things that they also can assist you with is getting the right computer equipment, along with Lauren and Tiffany. They work together to get things done. Another thing that I am very familiar with is going to the hospitals for site visits, because I did that for, I think, 11 years down from National. And it's an amazing thing to go to each of the hospitals to see what they're doing for our members and to get to know the staff there. And we met everybody from housekeeping to the director's office. And it was a great opportunity to learn and talk with our members to see what was happening, how they felt about their care. And I really valued that a lot. I think I went to 70 plus VAs. Of course, we only have what, 24 or 25 SCI centers? I can't remember the number now. But we also went to the non-SCI centers to see what kind of outpatient programs that they had, how well trained their staff was. And also every year we have an educational program for people who work for the VA to update them on current practices. We also have we publish the clinical practice guidelines for spinal cord injury. I'm also on that committee, and it's really valuable because people turn in research programs they'd like to conduct to PVA, and if we have any money, which is sometimes not always available, if we have money, we can possibly give a small amount to each of these programs if they really qualify and if they fit our mission. Trying to think what else. Robert Thomas, can you give me some ideas of things? I know I used to come up to Cleveland to the SCI Center there. We were there one time for a site visit, and all the electricity in the upper East Coast went out. And so we were stuck in the SCI Center, or I was stuck overnight because I was using a scooter. And we found out that the one elevator that was supposed to be hooked up to the emergency electricity was not hooked up. So that immediately got taken care of. And it just happened to be one of those events that we were there for, and it was taken care of primarily because it was supposed to have been done. But we said, oh, hey, we're up here on the 6th floor. How are we going to get our guys and gals out? So that's one of the benefits of going to the SCI Center with our nurses and doctors and representatives from the NSO service officers who go with us to see staff and patients. Now that's enough for me for a while.
Do you have any questions, Robert? I mean, Thomas?
Well, no, but well, I guess my main question is, when can we get started?
Well, part of your goals, you've got to meet up with your mentor and discuss your goals. And we have a list of different speakers we're going to be having you listen to all the way up until February the 11th.
Okay.
So I know that Matt has you coming in to our board meeting on the 14th.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt, do you want to talk a little bit about the Colonial Chapter's board meetings?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the board meeting is our monthly meeting where we and the designated board of directors for the chapter really address all the business issues that are going on within the chapter. So you'll hear a lot more about that, and you'll get to know who those people are when you attend that meeting. And then as you go through the program, you and I will be talking about the various roles that these people have and what their responsibilities are in those roles. So we'll definitely be covering those things. And to answer your question about when do we start, you and I need to set a date for probably about an hour's time, and we'll start to go through expectations, what your goals are, and we'll start putting some plans in place to be able to start moving you in that direction.
Okay.
Does anyone else have anything?
Thomas Clinton? This
Yes.
is Ann again. I just want to say that I think it's a little bit difficult on the first time you meet with all these people to think of questions, and you're just starting the program. So I'm not surprised that that you don't have any questions to ask. But as you go in further into the program and you start to pick up little things about PVA through the sessions, then you'll have a lot of questions. But it just takes time to feel comfortable and to know who we are and develop your questions.
Okay.
I'm,
And then, Tom, I would like to sort of piggyback on what, Ann, snowball fight and just getting a big snowball dumped on you. We're dumping a lot on you here, a lot of different programs, a lot of different individuals. As you said, as a program go and you meet with different people, then the individual's gonna isolate it down. Like she said, you're gonna speak with Heather Ainsley at Nations. You'll speak with Peter Gaeton of VBD. And you speak with the Medical Services Department. So they have more questions directly once they speak. But again, right now everything is just being thrown at you, and we know that it's very hard to come up with questions. Things just threw at you like this.
I'm going to also, we have a white book, it's an administrative book, and I do believe it's in the yellow pages, and I forget which ones, I think it's like 65 through 70 or something like that, that actually goes into the different programs within PVA. So I'm going to make copies of that for you and Daryl, and send that out to you today by email. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then we can meet up anytime this week. You can call in and can go a little bit more in detail about the programs to get ready for questions for the other program committee chair people. Okay?
Okay. Where's
Yeah,
Daryl?
but Daryl is the other person that is in the heart program. Don't see him on the call though. Is he on the call?
No.
He's not. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'll also say that, Joanne, if you would give Thomas my email and phone number, that way he and I could start to do some scheduling and do that initial call where we start to put together a learning plan.
Okay.
Super.
I do have a question. What is your knowledge of Apple products and essentially the Mac Pro, or should I say a Mac computer system?
And I'm assuming you're asking that question of me. So I would
Yes.
tell you that I'm working on a Windows machine right now because that's what we use within the company I work for. I have a MacBook that I use all the time, so I'm very familiar with it. The operating system itself is written off based off of Unix. So if you're familiar with Unix at all, that is something that I have. I started my career learning Unix, so I'm very proficient with that. So got you covered.
Okay.
I'm also a user of Apple iPhones. So again, it's something that we use at work.
Too expensive.
Yeah, they are too expensive. I didn't buy that one myself, that's for sure.
And Thomas, if learning Apple and